very much. First of all, I have to thank you and the Belgrade Forum for inviting me and Professor Dr. Wolfgang Richter, my good friend, who was the originator of the European Peace Forum and the NATO tribunal that took place in many countries and many cities. So my contribution is more directed to the ears of my compatriots than to you, because you are already the educated people. Because I see that by brainwashing and by disinformation in my country and in many other countries, there is a game on the stage played, the good guy against the bad guy. The good guy is NATO, US, and we are the good guys. And the bad guys is clear who it is. But this is not true. We cannot finish to try to educate people about the role of NATO. When the Warsaw Treaty was disbanded, it was mandatory that NATO should have been disbanded as well, because there was no more legitimate goal or reason for it, even not under the UN Charter. So this was a very great sin. It was, I put it, the fall of man. So, and from this point, NATO started to find new tasks, and naturally the tasks were aggressive. It was fitting to the role of the capitalist world, namely to fight for their, as they put it, their share of the resources in the world, to defend the lines of communication, to gather all the resources for them. So this was the aim. And it was very disappointing to me that this was not followed. And when we came to the role of the European Union, almost clandestine, but very, very on a low level, the European Union started from the Lisbon Treaty to the Maastricht Treaty to become a clone of NATO, because they adapted the same role, namely to defend their, as they put it, legitimate goals of defending their economic resources in the world. So if you want, you can say NATO and European Union in the military role are almost the same. And if you now, or if someone say, look, okay, NATO has betrayed Russia because the 2+4 treaty was clearly under the permission that NATO should not be extended. And what happened? Yes, clearly it was extended with a very hypocritical argument. How can we refuse countries to join the club if they want? And this was the case, they say, NATO. But it was the break of the rule, absolutely. So if now it is Russia saying, no, stop, this was a step too far, I have a lot of understanding for this position. And if you, now you say, look, we do not intend to incorporate Ukraine to NATO, we just want to offer them the membership of European Union. Yeah, but what is the difference? The European Union has this military arm, and the military goal, it is to me the same. And it is again a provocation of Russia. So this really must not happen. But it's not sufficient to repeat what we are, most of us are convinced what should happen after NATO has not been disbanded. We have to overcome the situation that has come again, namely that there are closed clubs with military capability and military goals exclude other clubs or other countries, and they try to push through their targets, their arms, their tasks against the interests of others. So this must be dissolved. Must be dissolved. And I advocate that we come in Europe back to what was started many years ago from Olof Palme and Egon Bahr under Willy Brandt government, namely the idea of collective security, common security. That is another word for a situation where nobody, no country, I do not see the future of clubs like NATO. No country does in the area of armament things that threaten or even looks threatening others. So if this is pursued, and if you could find an agreement on that, I'm very in favor of not following this course and putting Ukraine to the Western club, NATO or European Union, but to find an agreement on this principle with all the countries. And this must be also put to the UN Charter, so that it is not the rule of one or the other. So let me close with one thing. If Ukraine would be included to either NATO, what I don't expect, because this was a step too far, but also into European Union, this is the beginning of a never-ending confrontation and the rebuilding of a very severe and dangerous confrontation, also militarily. So this must not happen, and wherever we are doing our job in the peace movement, we have to think how we can prevent it. But we have to go away from confronting what is. We have to set something for the future, inspiration for how a free world can be organized outside, as I put it, clubs, military clubs, and the attempt to defend the own interests against the interests of others, but to negotiate about interests and come to a common conclusion how the interests can fairly be shared. Thank you very much.